Hey, this is Notser, and we're working on another achievement. This time, take a Tier 5 to Tier 10 French cruiser, do 30,000 main battery damage and 15,000 fire damage in any single battle. Of course, I'm going to bring my Tier 10, the Henri, and see how well it works out. Now, obviously, you don't need a Tier 10 to do this, but again, Tier 10 will double up with so many things: 500,000 credits, 400,000 credits. You get the commander, 2,500 commander, and the 1,500 ship XP, if you're interested in stuff like that. Otherwise, you know, just go after one achievement here and there, and you'll be happy. So the basic goal of this game, obviously, get our game successful. I tried this previously. I tried a game in this particular ship, and I, no joke, set 3 fires in a 15-minute battle, firing exclusively HE, and I did a pathetic 624 damage. Yeah. 2 of the fires were on DDs, and a 3rd fire was on a single fire kind of battleship. Usually, I would be super excited hitting a guy and he puts a single fire out, because that means I can relight that fire. Not so in that game, and that is just how it feels to play in a cruiser. You know, you might go over to a German battleship and set 1,000,000 fires and do tons of damage because the fire chance is so high, but then you go over to, did I say German? You go over to a British battleship, and then you go over to a cruiser, which is designed to set fires. This is 26% with all the buffs, and boy, am I buffing it. And you get maybe 2, 3. But we've already got 1, and I'm not going to complain yet. Enemy Des Moines is camping on the corner, which is pretty Des Moines-ish. We've got a couple battleships in the area, and there's a DD that already died. DDs are not a good source of this fire damage. Just get the hell out of here. What is with all the buzzing? I always feel like I have aircraft that are just wanting to fly over me. It's cool. I'm just teasing them. So, enemy North Carolina is barely in range. I believe this guy put out a fire. It was either a fire on him or a fire on a destroyer. And obviously, if the destroyer is... If the destroyer put out the fire, then, you know, it doesn't matter. I wasn't going to get enough damage on the target anyway. Enemy Iowa does show him, and yeah, I'm just gonna avoid damage. The nice thing about the French cruisers, very nimble, but that is also its Achilles heel. It cannot take that much damage. It has to maneuver around the damage, especially if it's going a long ways, because it will stick in the ship. And thankfully, the enemy Iowa misses us. No fires though. And initially I was like, man, this game is going to be passive. It's just going to be 2-2. Can't push forward. Don't know what's out there. Yada, yada, yada. I never like the idea that you stay stationary and you wait. I always want to get a advantage, whatever the advantage might be. I want to maybe move off the Des Moines, or maybe move off of the battleships or the destroyer. If we take out that Fletcher, if we take that Fletcher out, there's no one here to stop us. The French should not be afraid of torpedoes, first of all. But if we can move this guy and move that Fletcher, those battleships will absolutely want to retreat quickly. They don't want to take too much damage. We know, typical battleships, right? Stay in the back. We've got the line. I mean, you want to stay back because you're afraid of a potential target that's unspotted. Right? The torpedo threat. That's a big deal, but they've already killed one of our DDs, which was on this point, and the other destroyer is on the other side, right? So, yes, basic math would reveal that there probably isn't any DD on this flank. The enemy could theoretically push forward, and we have the aircraft carrier behind us, so it's like, yeah, we've got to hold them. If we don't hold them, that's going to be pretty bad. So it looks like this Baltimore is interested in hitching a ride. You might have caught the chat. I always like leaving the chat in. I think part of why people are allowed to be obnoxious on the internet is they aren't really punished for their comments. If people are just seen to be the terrible person that they can be, or the great person they can be, that's another thing. If someone is nice to you on the internet, acknowledge it. It's really that simple. It's like dog training. If you want your dog to behave better, well, whenever he does something good or she does something good, you reward that. If you don't like their behavior, you don't reward it. So I always like to, keep a loose. Yeah, the Des Moines was like, don't shoot at me, don't pick on me, I'm a viewer, and I'm just like chuckling, like, no, nothing personal, man. I'm just trying to accomplish my achievement, and so far our fire damage has sucked. God, making all these stories up because I'm frustrated we're not getting fires. Is this gonna be another game where I get like 3 fires and maybe 1,000 damage in fire damage? Please set a fire. Please set a fire. And the Baltimore's here. Sorry, Balti. I am trying my best to rotate quickly, and I'm sort of cutting him off. I should probably use my speed boost. We got pretty good AA layering, and this eye was moving back. Now that's a lot of fire potential, yes. There we go. Is he a one fire kind of guy, or is he going to let it burn? Please let it burn. Please let it burn. I can't believe how many people I find who are under active combat with an HE ship, and they will put out the fire immediately on their battleship. I put my fire out on 1 if I feel like I can disengage for the 20 or 30 seconds that I need for it to rearm. I would never put the fire out if I'm actively engaged with the target. And so far it looks pretty good. We got 2 more fires, so 3 fires on the target. And there you go. Death by baguette. That's the French one, by the way, if you couldn't catch on. That's the one that confirms that you have accomplished your goal of getting 30,000 main battery, 15,000 fire damage. Everything else is just icing on the cake. So we're just going to keep pushing forward, keep this guy under fire, probably try to set another fire, but honestly, I can't pass up the nice salvos. I mean, 5,000, 6,000. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you have a French and you're looking to do this, what tier do I recommend? Well, I always recommend doubling up on achievement hunting. I saw people try the 5 or the 6 tier. Well, that's great, but it's going to be really hard to accomplish the 1,500 ship XP, 2,500 commander XP, the 400,000 credits, A lot of people don't have the time to play each individual achievement out. The best thing you can do is try and double up and triple up. And the higher tier you can get in, the more successful you are, the easier it is to get those. We get the Iowa Dead via Arsonist, which is cool. Enemy Essex, for whatever reason, is on this flank. And I'm going to try and engage him. And he's rocking that Halloween German camo. You're not a German aircraft carrier. That's the Graf Zeppelin. What are you doing? I'm sure someone's like, that's the Halloween camo. It's German. It looks like the German flag. I was rocking it for a long time on my German ships just because, it felt right. It just felt right. So, enemy North Carolina firing on us. He's honestly hitting some pretty good shots. Looks like an AFK Yamato, maybe? Either way, he's dead. And we've got 3 bases to their 1. I think this is very much a win. Enemy aircraft carrier shows himself again. And I'm considering, should I switch from the North Carolina to the aircraft carrier? Gonna have to dodge this again. Or should I finish the North Carolina, or assist in his destruction? Assist in the destruction of the North Carolina, and then, get on the Essex. And I figured, but you know what? Just make sure the North Carolina's dead. That's what you want to do, rather than farming the damage off of the Essex. Enemy aircraft carrier is attacking the Baltimore. I don't know how successful that's going to be. The Baltimore is probably the highest AA protected ship at tier 9. maybe the American. Oh, and look at that. We missed out on a giant amount of damage. He runs into the carcass of, I think that's the Iowa still. And yeah, he's dead. I should have switched to AP, but hindsight, of course. I switched now when he's dead. And that Fletcher that was on the western side of the map, he went all the way to the east. You can see the torpedoes, which clearly wasn't sent by the Des Moines. And then there's the Amagi over there. And we're just going to finish up the aircraft, no big deal. I do have defensive fire. I have re-equipped all my French with defensive fire. It's just really rare that I ever use hydro being this far back. I mean, this is way far back. Plus, your maneuverability is so fantastic. Even if you don't have hydro or target acquisition or anything to detect torpedoes or vigilance, you basically will never be hit by torpedoes. It's that maneuverable. And it's really enjoyable. It's just, I don't know how powerful that really is at the end of the day. So the Des Moines, he tried to set up on the other corner. Not really working out very well. Just trying to push forward, do some damage. And yeah, it's not a super exciting game. I mean, we're doing great damage, right? I mean, it's clear that we far exceeded the expectations of the achievement, but just keep the fire up. Don't let up. Team's clearly not, it's not a close game at all. I just wanted to share it because one of the requirements is the French. You play the French cruisers. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the achievements. I think they're really fun. Like, really fun. Like, to the point where wargaming, I think having something like this all the time would be pretty cool. Where, you know, maybe you have achievements that come online and come offline that encourage low-played ships, and it'll give you rewards to signal flags or camouflage or extra credit income. Just something to get people to play maybe align with what you envision the ship line doing. I'm sure everyone expected the French cruisers to do good HE damage and set fires, right? Well, there's not a lot of French cruisers being played, just because they're not very effective. But I think variety in the game is really fun, and I think it's worth it to put a little achievements here or there that might rotate through ships that just aren't being played. So we got our medals. Yep, there it is. Death by Baguette. You got a parcel waiting, and we got Skipper on Deck. Skipper on Deck is the commander one. Get it all the time. It's very easy, honestly. You know, not spectacular, but we did all right. Friendly Neptune did a fantastic job, and so did the Baltimore, and I did like the Des Moines. Good try, Des Moines. I know you're a viewer. Maybe next time. But this time, the French win. I hope you enjoyed seeing my game, unlocking my French collection. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.